This is Special Chronicles, giving respect and a voice to people with special needs.
I shudder thinking how the world can be so cruel. I lend my voice to those who can't. It's time we try, it's time we care, it's time we stand. It starts with a voice.
Welcome to the Special Chronicles Podcast. My name is Daniel Smrokowski. I'm the founder of Special Chronicles and a Sargent Shriver Global Messenger alum with Special Olympics and a health messenger. And our website, specialchronicles.com, where you can see my archives, follow us on socials, and wherever you get your podcasts, specialchronicles.com. This week on the Special Chronicles Podcast, we're welcoming, calling in all the way from Special Olympics, Ireland. Margaret is a Sargent Shriver Global Messenger in this new class. Please put your virtual hands together as we welcome Margaret on the Special Chronicles Podcast. Welcome, Margaret. Welcome,
Hi,
Margaret.
Daniel. Thank you. How are you today?
Good. I'm doing good. I've got for those of you listening to the audio podcast, check out the video on our YouTube channel. And you can see I'm drinking coffee in my SSGM mug from my class of Sargent Shriver Global Messengers. But yeah, it's good to have you on the program. And just to kind of, I know this staff person, this staff might not want us to mention his name too many times on this episode because we've done it in the past. But Brandon, who you know, I came down to my local summer games for my program this past summer, and I was talking to him, and I was telling him about this inclusive health series that I'm producing, and one of the 5 topics is about strong minds. And he was telling me about how your platform and a big project that you have is as a health messenger and as a Sargent Shriver Global Messenger is dealing with the strong minds discipline, and that it got me. That was one of the reasons why I wanted to have you on, is because I know from the past 5 years, juggling all of the speaking opportunities, all the appearances, all the events, particularly at the World Games, but throughout your term, is a lot. And so that's why I was excited to hear about excited to hear a little bit more about in this episode about your project. But we'll get into that in just a little bit. But first, why don't we take our listeners back and introduce yourself to our listeners, share how we got connected and what disability you were diagnosed with.
Yeah, so my name is Margaret Turley. I am an advocate for people with disabilities, as I have a disability myself. I am an athlete with Special Olympics, and I'm a spokesperson for Special Olympics, and I work. I have for a part-time permanent job, and yeah.
Awesome. And speaking of being an advocate, the focus is not on our challenges, but I thought to give our listeners a little bit more of a backstory on you. Can you share with us what are a few of the of your challenges because of your disability?
Yeah, so I have a disability called Boschman Forman Layman, and it's a rare genetic disability. And because my disability, one of my main challenges is my delay in development and education. And I went to a mainstream school where I found it really hard to keep up, even though I had supports and I had a teacher to meet with me, Grimes, we call it, to meet with me. And even with all the support from family and Grimes and the teachers themselves, I still felt it was hard. So I went to special needs school, which was challenging because I found the work that the class were doing wasn't challenging me. And then when I got harder work to do in the special needs school, the teachers weren't able or wouldn't support me with the work. So my parents kind of ended up teaching me with my homework, but like teaching me my classwork because the teachers couldn't teach me, which was hard.
Awesome. And as we know, and I'm sure our listeners now for the past 16 years know that our challenges is not the focus of this podcast. It's not the focus of Special Olympics, but about our accomplishments. So what are a few of the joys and accomplishments because of your disability? Well, there's probably a lot when it comes to athlete leadership that we'll get to in the next segment. But first, just overall throughout your life, what are a few of the joys and accomplishments because of your disability?
Yes, so one of the joys for me is being able to speak up for people who aren't able to speak up for themselves, or maybe hopefully give them the confidence to speak up by listening to me. And also, one of the challenges. One of the compliments, I have is when I went to Berlin, I won a gold medal for basketball. One of the team, we won basketball gold medal, which is a very good accomplishment. Or being selected to be Sargent Shriver Global Messenger, being asked to be involved in TV ads for people with disabilities to speak up.
Awesome. I didn't realize that you were also in Berlin at those board games, but yeah, that was a pretty exciting board games, and so yeah, it was pretty awesome. Everything from the opening ceremonies to the competitions and all the events around those games. We're going to take a quick break, just a few quick minutes. When we get back, we'll get into how you got involved in Special Olympics and becoming an athlete and an athlete leader after this quick break to let you all know that support for Special Chronicles comes from listeners like you. Please join our supporters with a monthly or one-time donation so we can operate our studio, continue our mission, giving respect and voice to those of us with disabilities, like Margaret and myself and the over 5 million Special Olympics athletes across the globe. Please join our supporters, and you can, if you want to access the bonus content, the pre-show with Margaret as we got things set up in the studio, specialchronicles.com/plus to join now and access that bonus content. And Margaret, I read in your bio, maybe you can share. I'll put a link to for those of you that would like to read Margaret's bio on specialolympics.org. I'll put a link to that in the show notes. But I read in your bio that your journey with Special Olympics had started in Kilkenny, where you immersed yourself in the world of sports, showcasing your prowess in a few different sports, and you became an athlete leader in 2022. So, how did you get started in the Special Olympics movement, and what sports have you participated in?
Yeah, so I started in Kilkenny when I was younger, when I was in school, in the special needs school. I did a bit of basketball, a little bit of football, we did different sports, and then when I went to college, I took a break, and then after college, my auntie was working with a lady in the hospital, and she has a niece with disability, and she said I should try and join the team. So she put my auntie in touch with the niece's mother, her sister, and she gave the number to my coach Derek, and my mom contacted him to say I'd like to join, and we used to go up every Monday to watch them training, and then he could see this, and even though he couldn't take me on straight away, he could see the dedication that we would travel about 2 hours every Monday just to watch them training, to see. So then when he could see my dedication and the support that I had from my family to come that distance for training, then he was like, okay, she would be good to have on our team. So then he said that I could join the team, and then I trained with them. I started training with him, I think it was in 2014, maybe 2015, 2014, 2015. I started training in basketball with them.
Awesome. I also compete in basketball as well, and I just competed in bocce just a couple months ago. I'm sure there could be a lot of favorite moments, but if you were to pick maybe one or two, what would you say is your favorite part of being a Special Olympics athlete?
My favorite about being a Special Olympics athlete is having a place to belong, and knowing that I don't have to pretend, or I can just be myself and I'll be accepted. That I can speak up for other people or encourage others to speak up for themselves, to learn how to be part of a team and to become a good team player, and to learn like traveling, so like local traveling to your matches, but then also further afield traveling to other countries with the Sargent Shriver Global Messenger role.
Awesome. You've mentioned a few times your role as a Sargent Shriver Global Messenger, so we'll get into that in just a few moments. And for those listening to this podcast, they know that I'm one of your predecessors from the previous class before yours. But what those, and I'm sure some of our listeners might know that we gain a lot of skills off the field. So why did you want to develop your skills and take your skills off the field as an athlete leader and get involved in athlete leadership? Why did you want to develop your skills, building upon basketball, building upon taking it off the basketball court and into athlete leadership? Why did you want to do this?
Good question. So skills of athletes leaders are public speaking and helping others. It's not just playing sports and about the sport you play. So I wanted to develop these skills so that I could spread the message of inclusion for people with intellectual disabilities to people in the government, schools, families, etc., and tell them how Special Olympics change the lives of athletes. Also because I have a keen interest in health and fitness. I wanted to help other athletes learn important messages about looking after their body and their mind and help prevent diseases and illnesses in the future. And so they can be the fittest athletes they can be while playing in their sport.
Awesome. And that you as listeners can tell on this podcast, and also just if they see you speak, whether it's locally or at the upcoming World Winter Games in Italy coming up, or in 2027 at the next World Games as well, your advocacy, as you just have talked about, extends beyond the worlds, and as according to your bio, your strongest skill lies in the art of public speaking, as you just talked about. What do you enjoy about, and as we know as Southern Shriver Global Messengers, is that being an athlete leader is much more than just public speaking. But when we talk about the speaking part of it, what do you enjoy about public speaking on behalf of this movement?
I enjoy about public speaking is standing up for others with disabilities, for people to be able to hear my voice and to be able to hear what I have to say and what other athletes have to say, and that's either through me or through them themselves, and also for their families to hear what they have to say, because sometimes it's hard for the families to give us the space that we need to make the mistakes, to learn from our mistakes, and not to always be wrapping us up in cotton wool, and to be able to listen to what our points of views are, and to help us to learn the skills of life, and to be able to have a say in how we want to live our own life.
Awesome. And you've mentioned a few times already in the first couple of segments this is the second segment of the first segment and a half about your role as a Southern Shriver Global Messenger. So we're going to, for those of you that are wondering all about how Margaret became selected as one of the elite athlete leadership roles in this movement, we'll get into that in just a moment. But let's take a listen or take a watch of the of when our fan in chief, our chairman Tim Shriver, announced you as one of 10 Southern Shriver Global Messengers.
Just a quick video to watch.
Margaret, this is your X Factor moment now.
Hello, I'm Tim Shriver, and I'm the chair of Special Olympics International, and I'm also the Special Olympics International fan chief. But my great honor today is to let you know that you have been accepted, rewarded, welcomed as a Sargent Shriver Global Messenger. Congratulations. 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 You have won this award, this distinction, because of your work, because of your determination, because of the power of your voice, because of the example you've set for other people who have joined together to say, we believe in you. And now, in this role, perhaps one of the most difficult but most important roles in the entire Special Olympics movement, I welcome you and I encourage you to find and define the goals that you have that can superpower the inclusion revolution. We know you have it in you. That's why you were chosen. But we also know that you have even more in you than you've yet to give. My dad, Sargent Shriver, for whom this program is named, traveled all over the world because he had one central belief, that the Special Olympics movement could change the world. You are now the holders of his legacy and of the passions and hopes of all of us. You now are invited to travel all over the world and let them know that the power of inclusion, the power of grit and determination, the power of openness and trust and belief in the goodness and dignity of every person, these values of the Special Olympics movement can change the world. You are now Sargent Shriver, Global Messenger. Thank you for all you've done that got you here. Welcome to this extraordinarily powerful community of fellow athletes. And I now get ready to stand back and watch as you change the world. Congratulations.
And for those of you that would like to know a little bit more, before Margaret, we hear about your reaction, I want to let you all listening in know that for 20 years, Special Olympics athlete leaders have served in a select role titled Sargent Shriver Global Messenger. These spokespeople for the movement lead the campaign for a more inclusive world for people with intellectual disabilities through their participation and leadership at global, regional, and local events, both internal and external, to the Special Olympics movement to challenge the mindsets of political leaders, policymakers, educators, employers, and society. So, Margaret, as we just saw that moment when you got selected in the elite and the highest athlete leadership role, can you share what was your reaction to being that moment that we just saw? What was your reaction when you got selected as a Sargent Shriver Global Messenger?
Yeah, my reaction was like, oh my God, I actually got this. And that people that, like Brandon and Tim Shriver, and they had this like program was there for people like myself, like yourself, to be able to speak up, to get people to listen, to have our say. And my reaction was, oh my God, I hope I can do this. Then it was, no, I know I can do this, because the room, when I heard, when they played that video to say that I got selected, the room was full of cheer for me, and everyone had belief in me. So then that helped me to have the belief in myself that I could do this.
Awesome. And take our listeners back to how did you hear about the highest athlete leadership role, Sargent Shriver Global Messenger in our Special Olympics movement? Did you see any of myself or any of your predecessors at the World Games in Berlin? Did you see us on stage, or how did you hear about this opportunity?
Yeah, so I saw you and the rest of your class on stage in Berlin, but I didn't know about, that was before I knew. But then Special Olympics asked me, would I like to get involved in the Sargent Shriver Global Messenger, and that was when I first heard about the role. But then when I went to Berlin, I saw you on stage, and then I knew that was part of the Sargent Shriver Global Messenger.
Awesome. And when you heard and you saw us on stage, why did you want to become an SSGM? Why did you want to become a Sargent Shriver Global Messenger?
I wanted to become a Southern Shriver Global Messenger because I think what I have to say is important, and I think it is important enough to hear and for people to listen to what I have to say. And I think I hope that I can and that I do help people to become better athletes, to become better ambassadors for their clubs, for their towns, for the brothers and sisters, nieces, nephews, parents, grandparents, not just worldwide, but also at a local level. So everyone can get behind each other.
Awesome. Yeah, it's not just about the global and the regional level, but also about the local level. I know in one of the panels that I was on, that I spoke on in Berlin, was a local program, was a summit on the local program, and I in particular, I think it was like my speech was only like 2 to 3 minutes on the panel, but it was really talking about athlete leadership at the local program level. So I'm sure there's probably a lot of goals that you might have for your term for the next 4 years. Now near the end of your this is the end of your first year, so now you've got 3 more years. But what are a few of the goals that you have as a Southern Shriver Global Messenger? What do you hope to accomplish in the next 3 years as a Southern Shriver Global Messenger?
So my goals as a Southern Shriver Global Messenger are to deliver the Stronger Minds, Happier Lives programs to the other SSGM members and the GALC members on Zoom, and to also deliver presentations as part of the SO in Coach Global webinar series to teach coaches how to include health education for athletes within the sports sessions, and deliver presentations to 50 coaches before the end of 2025. To be part of a panel discussion for the Winter World Games to discuss health disputes faced by people with intellectual disability to a large audience. And also I'd like to attend and to help at the Healthy Young Athlete screening within the region to prepare for giving tours at the World Summer Games in Chile in 2027.
Awesome. I love that. And that's one of the reasons why I'm having you on this podcast, and we'll get to in the next segment, talking all about your work on the health side of being a Southern Shriver Global Messenger. But first, I want to get a couple other opinions from you, and that is Tim Shriver, our chairman of Special Olympics and fan-in-chief. Recently, with the announcement of your Southern Shriver Global Messenger class, had this challenge for your group to push the transformation of inclusive education through sports. As the Special Olympics fan-in-chief, Tim said that he was proud to announce newest Southern Shriver Global Messengers, and he challenged your class to push the transformation of inclusive education through sports and create a world where everyone, regardless of their ability, is accepted. And so, can you comment on how you plan to use Tim Shriver's challenge in your region, in Special Olympics Ireland, in the Eurasia region? How do you plan on using Tim Shriver's challenge to bring inclusive education through sports?
So at the moment in Ireland, we are working towards inclusive education. Another organisation I work called Inclusion Ireland. I'm working hard to help achieve this goal. I think Special Olympics can help by speaking with schools and telling them about the sports we offer, encouraging the students to join a local club or for the school to take on a sport.
Awesome. And that's I love hearing that, because definitely more schools should get involved with the Unified Champion Schools program and the education programs that Special Olympics offers. You mentioned in your goals about health, and we'll get into a little bit more of that in the next segment. But first, you work very hard to make the world healthier and include everyone using the power sports and speaking up for what's right. Give us an example of how you're making the world healthier. We'll get into a little bit more in particular about strong minds in the next segment. But can you give us an example of how you're making the world healthier?
Yeah, and I'm trying to make the world a healthier place by doing talks, by getting people to listen to me and hear me speaking up. Also, I'm hoping to deliver the Stronger Mind, Healthier Lives program to the rest of the SSGMs and the golf programs. And also, I like to train, and I encourage other athletes to train, to go to the gym, to go for walks, to go to training sessions. And also, I would love if there could be like more involvement, and if gyms worked with Special Olympics to make a connection, to involve athletes more so in the gyms, and maybe encourage the athletes to come and join them.
Awesome. I love it. Hopefully that all for those of you listening will whet your appetite to keep tuning in to the next segment, and we'll talk all about strong minds and inclusive health with our guest Margaret, calling in all the way from Special Olympics Ireland after this short break. So Margaret, we'll come back in just 1 minute to talk all about strong minds and inclusive health right here on specialchronicles.com. We'll be right back. Support for Special Chronicles comes from ComEd. Special Chronicles is proud to partner with the ComEd Energy Force Ambassador Program. The Energy Force is the country's first energy efficiency education program designed for and taught by people with disabilities. ComEd is powering lives, and Wary is powering us here at Special Chronicles to keep the lights on and our technology is powered on. As ComEd powers the lives of us, they are literally giving a voice to people with special needs. We thank ComEd for the generous support of our mission at Special Chronicles. Learn more at specialchronicles.com/ComEd. That's specialchronicles.com/ComEd. And for those of you listening on your podcast, go check out the video on our YouTube, specialchronicles.com, for links to watch this on YouTube. And for those of you guys probably didn't realize doing that, I did a little costume change. Show, and so welcome to let's rewind a little bit. Let's begin this segment as we talk all about.
This is Special Chronicles, giving respect and a voice to people with special needs.
I shudder thinking how the world can be so cruel.
Welcome to Special Chronicles Presents Inclusive Health Series, Season 2, Part 5. This is Daniel Smrokowski. I'm the founder of Special Chronicles and a health messenger with Special Olympics and a Southern Shriver Global Messenger alum. SpecialChronicles.com to follow Special Chronicles on socials and wherever you get podcasts. Special Olympics Southern Shriver Global Messenger Margaret Turley is calling in all the way from Special Olympics Ireland. Joins us this week as we talk about strong minds, discipline of inclusive of healthy athletes. And Margaret, I've heard that you utilize your health messenger experience to champion health lifestyles, particularly for individuals like both of us and over 5 million athletes across the globe with intellectual disabilities. I've heard that you've had a special interest in the strong minds discipline and how those of us Southern Shriver Global Messengers, athlete leaders, have so many opportunities, and a lot of times it can be hard to struggle how time to juggle the opportunities along with our emotional health. And so I was excited to hear about your project and your platform as a Southern Shriver Global Messenger, as a health messenger, dealing with strong minds amid the highest athlete leadership role in the movement. So first, why don't we begin and talk and share with us. I made some notes that you saw that I sent you, but what is stress? What's some of the emotional signs and physical signs of stress?
Yes, so good question. Some of the signs as emotional and physical signs of stress can be if people start to say overeat, or maybe if they're a lot quieter than they used to be. They might be more like keeping to themselves. They might look a bit sad. They might be crying more. They might not want to talk, or they mightn't be as chatty as normal, or they might not turn up to the training sessions and stuff. And the physical signs could be more like, say, they might come out in like rashes, or they might feel like more anxious and more stressed, or they might be like out of breath more, or like just look more agitated, flustered. They could be like dropping things or falling more, things like that.
Awesome. And some other notes that I want to share with our listeners is some of the emotional signs, in addition to what you said, Margaret, is being easily upset or mad, feeling overwhelmed, having difficulty relaxing, feeling bad about yourself, avoiding others, can't focus, always worrying, poor judgment, or poor decision making. Some of the emotional signs. And then physical signs, you might have low energy, headaches, upset stomach, tense muscles, trouble sleeping, nervousness, chest pain, and rapid heartbeat, and aches and pains could be some physical signs. Switching gears around to a little bit about strong minds, as you know, and as I know, and as health messengers we know, Special Olympics, healthy athletes, one of the disciplines is strong minds that helps to develop coping strategies for our emotional health. And it isn't just one thing, but what are a few of the techniques that we have as strong minds? I am for those of you in the studio, for those of you watching the video, you see I've got this handmade a stress ball. It's a balloon with some rice in there. It's a stress ball. But what's some of the techniques that we have that you can you can learn and 5 techniques that you can do daily for emotional health?
Yeah, so the 5 techniques that I would like to talk about today would be, one of them would be, as you said, the stress ball. So to have something, which doesn't even have to be a stress ball, it could be a handmade one like you have yourself, Daniel. It could be one just like some socks rolled up, something squidgy that you can like squeeze, kind of soft. And then you could have, one of your techniques would be do deep breathing, do like mindful breathing, coloring, listening to music, talking to people can help. You know, as the saying says, a problem shared is a problem halved, I think the saying is. So that can also help, and also to do some yoga or tai chi, or some go for a walk in nature, or if you have a pet, a cat or a dog or any animals, sometimes people can find that really helpful as well to bring you back down and to reset.
Awesome. Maybe some other ones, in addition to what you shared, Margaret, I love those ideas. Some other techniques that you guys might also be helpful to know is to think positive thoughts, structure. You can use some of the Fit 5 exercises for that, and also getting support, seeking support from others, give others a smile, a fist bump, or words of encouragement instead of a high five. You can also find strong support people in your circle, in your family, in your friends, your coach, that help you to feel happy and strong and help support others. Now, we mentioned a little bit earlier, and for those of you listening to this Inclusive Health series, stay tuned to episode 604. That will be dropping on this podcast on December 9th to hear the full episode with Margaret. But we mentioned a few times your platform, a big part of your role as a Sargent Shriver Global Messenger is dealing with Strong Minds. So can you tell us about your project with Strong Minds and how you are helping your fellow Sargent Shriver Global Messengers, athlete leaders, coaches, staff with Strong Minds?
Yeah, so I'm hoping to create a poster with the key information regarding the Strong Minds Help Your Lives program. I will do 2 90-minute sessions through Zoom. I will invite the SSGMs to register for the sessions via email and calls. I will gather necessary resources needed for the training. I will link it with Brandon and Christina for the translation to translate the material to other people's languages, and I will practice delivering the content before I do it. And then I will link in with the Director of Coach Education and Training to see if it would be possible so I could organize global webinars to coaches to talk about how they could include the health education for the athletes in their sports session.
Awesome. I love that. And for those of you listening in, if you are on the Global Athlete Leadership Council, if you are involved in this movement, stay tuned. I'm sure Special Olympics will share if Margaret is going to be speaking on a upcoming global webinar. But it's exciting to hear because it's important. Mental health is in the news a lot, and emotional health is talked a lot about now. But I loved hearing that, something that I wish I knew a little bit more about during my time as a Sargent Shriver Global Messenger. So I'm excited that you are making that a priority and making that a big part of your platform as a Southern Shriver Global Messenger. Before we get into the final segment, we always include, but I'm gonna conclude this segment before we get to the final segment, because I've asked the other guests on our Inclusive Health series the same question, and we want our listeners to really not only consume the content, but take action into their communities. And so, let's go ahead and roll that bumble.
We're not just athletes.
We are the ambassadors of an uprising.
Peaceful protesters.
In a rebellion against anyone
who has a fear of difference. Difference.
Our demands are
equality,
dignity, and the recognition of our
shared humanity. We will not stop
or accept anything less.
Today, our world is
more divided than ever.
And coming together has never been more urgent.
The revolution
is inclusion.
Find out more at jointherevolution.org.
I didn't give you this question ahead of time, but it's something that we want our listeners to take action in their communities and bring inclusive health. And so, what does inclusive health mean to you? What does inclusive health mean to you?
Inclusive health to me means inclusivity. It means being able to take part in your sports, having a place to learn how to be part of a team, to learn how to participate in an individual sport, if that's what you are, like skiing or golf, or then if it's basketball or soccer or I don't know, there's so many I can't even think of all of them. Also, inclusive health also means being able to go to your dentist, having access to your dentist, being able to get your teeth checked, being able to go to the hygienist, being able to go to your doctor when you're sick, or if you have a cold, or if you need to get a form signed, or things like that. Also, to be able to talk about your mental health, to be able to talk to someone like a psychologist or a counselor, and to know that it's okay to go to these people, and it's okay to need help, and not to be afraid to say, wait a minute, hang on, I need help. I need to have access to a dentist, to a doctor, and to be able to go and use your own voice, and to be able to stand up for ourselves and to talk for ourselves instead of always having someone talking for us.
Awesome. I love that. We're going to take one final break. When we get back, for those of you that are listening to this inclusive health episode, please go follow Special Chronicles wherever you get your podcasts, specialchronicles.com/listen. And the full episode is going to drop on December 9th, episode 604. So stay tuned to December 9th for the full episode with Margaret. We'll be back with some final thoughts right after this break, or for those of you listening to this inclusive health episode, we'll be back in a couple of months with much more from Margaret, Southern Shriver Global Messenger from Special Olympics Ireland. We'll be right back. Support for Special Chronicles comes from United Airlines Bridge Disability Business Resource Group. Special Chronicles is proud to partner with United Airlines and the Bridge BLG. Bridge BLG is committed to being an ally for all employees and customers with disabilities. Bridge helps to create internal awareness to keep accessibility needs in mind and partner with key organizations to empower disability inclusion for employment and travel. Bridge, connecting people of all abilities. Book your travel today on United.com or on the award-winning United app. Learn more on United's commitment to disability inclusion for employment and travel at specialchronicles.com/United. That's specialchronicles.com/United. We're back. I don't know if you hear that, Margaret, but
yeah.
The fire alarm's going off outside the studio. It's all good. For those of you who heard that, it's all good. It's all good. No need to leave the studio and then. Anyways, okay. So we've got just a few moments left, Margaret. For those of you that want to connect with your local Special Olympics program. We'll put links to a Special Olympics Ireland. But Margaret, where can people connect with Special Olympics Ireland or their local program?
Yeah, so they can connect with Special Olympics Ireland through the internet. If you just Google Special Olympics Ireland, and you will find how to connect with them there.
Awesome. So for those of you listening, you can either Google or you can look in the description below, specialolympics.org, to connect with your local program. And before we get to the final question, Margaret, do you have any final thoughts on it? It's been the past 50 minutes of having you on. It's been a lot of fun having you on the program. But do you have any final thoughts on your overall time today on the Special Chronicles podcast that you'd like to share with all listeners?
Yeah, I just want to say thank you very much for inviting me here today to speak, and also that I hope other people will hear me speak and then say, oh, I want to start speaking up, and I want people to hear their voices and to be able to be part of the family of Special Olympics.
Awesome. We've got one final question that we always conclude these podcast conversations with. And let's go ahead and roll that bumper.
We're not just athletes.
We are the ambassadors of an uprising. Peaceful protesters.
In a rebellion against anyone
who has a fear of difference.
Difference.
Our demands are
Equality.
dignity, and the recognition of our
shared humanity. We will not stop
or accept anything less.
Today, our world is
More divided than ever. And coming together has never been more urgent.
The revolution.
Is inclusion.
Find out more at jointherevolution.org.
Ever since I attended the 2019 Special Olympics World Games in Abu Dhabi, which was the first World Games I attended at the Sargent Shriver Global Messenger, just a couple months after my training. So your class has a whole year to train before going to the World Games. But with that, as you know, the inclusion revolution is a big part of this movement. And so we want our listeners to not only hear your story, consume this content, be informed and entertained, but also to take action into their communities. Your final thoughts kind of did that as well. But this final question really gets to the heart of what we want our listeners to take away from this podcast. And so I'll conclude with you, Margaret, and ask, what does inclusion mean to you?
Inclusion to me means speaking up for people with disabilities and to show people that we have the right to be concluded in society, and that we can do things. And it might not always be the way how they do it, but it still works, and it's our way, and that's okay.
Awesome. Well, that's a perfect way to wrap up this episode. For those of you listening in, want to just let you all know that you can join our supporters with a monthly one-time donation, starting at just $10 a month and up. You can access our bonus content of just a one-time donation as well. You can join now at specialchronicles.com/plus. You can shop our merchandise store. We have a Disabled Voices Matter line of merch. It is being worn in Great Britain, and maybe Margaret, I'll send you a link to our merchandise store as well. But we have T-shirts, hoodies, coffee mugs. You can shop our store. Know that 60% of the profits go back to Special Chronicles. You can shop now at specialchronicles.com/shop. And go ahead and tap that follow button. We'll go ahead and wait for you all. Go tap that follow button so you never miss a new episode. We'll drop every Monday right here on specialchronicles.com. It's been a joy having you on, Margaret, and hopefully we can meet up in person someday. And I hope you all have a great week. Great if you got a party hearing this in December, so hopefully you guys have a good holiday time as we are nearing the holidays this month of December, or whenever you are listening to this holiday, or whatever time of you're listening to this on demand. Thank you again, our guest has been Margaret Turley, calling in all the way from Special Olympics Ireland, Southern Shriver Global Messenger. We'll be back next week right here on SpecialChronicles.com. Until then, we will choose to include. We'll catch you all next week. Thank you for listening to this episode of the Special Chronicles Podcast. Our podcast was produced by Daniel Smrokowski on the Special Chronicles Network. Follow Special Chronicles on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and YouTube. Subscribe, rate, and review Special Chronicles on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts. Our website, specialchronicles.com, where you can stream our archives of over 500 episodes for free. Also, there's a list of our favorites, original series, award-winning columns, and blogs. And sign up for our newsletter to receive exclusive bonus content delivered to your inbox. Again, specialchronicles.com. Special Chronicles is hosted by Podbean Podcast Hosting. Our live streams are powered by StreamYard. Thanks, as always, to our business manager, Adam Smrokowski, who always encourages us to never give up. I'm Daniel Smrokowski, back next week with more stories.
Special Chronicles, giving respect and a voice to people with special needs.